Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. I tell you, every day, no matter how much I plan ahead, it's always a race to the finish. I don't know why. Um, just happens that way though. Um, hmm. And see, this is why it happens because always at the last minute, I think of something else I could do, and I don't know how to turn that off. Um, well, let me see. That can wait for tomorrow. It surely can, unless it can't. In which case, okay, yeah, that could wait for tomorrow. No need. All right, so thank you so much, Lydia, for being here first. And thank you, everybody else, for joining us here on Royal Sussex. Um, okay, yeah, that'll wait. That will wait. Okay, stop it, stop it, stop it. That will wait for tomorrow. All right. But I hate. Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna fix it. I'll leave it like it is. First, I better make sure you all can hear me. Take that away. Oh yeah, you can. Great. I kind of thought so. And guess what? The slides are up. I didn't even have to do it. I had it done already. So, still feel like I'm forgetting something. TB, thank you. Judy Mutased, Emily Rodriguez, Jan Martin, Janice Goodrich, Yellow Rose T, Anita Macbeth, and Gwendolyn Daniels is here. I'm going to go ahead and scroll all the way down to the last. Okay. Hey, Sherry Ware. Okay. Lorna Williams. Legs. Jenny Rock Bailey. Cool. All right. We're good then. So, Archewell Impact Report. Now, that is something that we desperately needed because it has been all Wells's all the time. I mean, I am up to my who knows what with those two people. So I'm glad that we have this. Okay. Well, fortunately, Sherry, what is it? Melicon? We do have some Sussex stuff today. It's kind of hard to ignore that other stuff, and I'm going to tell you why. Yesterday, I was going through the trolls and getting rid of people. And the thing is, there is the rehearsed dialogue, this whole narrative that they have come up with from the British tabloid media. And unfortunately, a lot of the negativity that is directed toward the Sussexes, I would say the bulk of it comes from the tabloid media. And there's no one in the mainstream media, and I do mean no one, that on a daily basis is pushing back against that narrative. And so I can understand why there's a lot of people who say, well, why don't we just talk about the Sussex stuff? Why do we have to talk about the other stuff? On the odd chance that there is someone who wants to hear the other side of the story, which is how a lot of you all have come to the Sussex friendly spaces, we have to talk about it. It's necessary. And if we don't, then you don't have the tools to combat those negative stories that come from the tabloid media. It's unfortunate. I don't like the idea that it's necessary, but it is because day after day, and this has happened to a lot of people a lot of squatties, day after day, you find that a very concerned friend or loved one will say, "What is this thing about Harry having to pay this money back?" Well, the mainstream media, they only tell you the bad side of things. They only tell you the negative portions of it. They do not give you any fair representation. There's no intention to do that, especially when they go to a so called British reporter or royal expert. They don't do anything to help. There's no objectivity at all. There's no attempt to try to give a fair depiction of the actual events. Is all one sided. So until that changes, buckle up your seatbelt because I'm not changing anything. I'm going to keep doing everything the same way I've always done it because someone has to push back. And if we can't depend on the mainstream media, then it's going to have to be all of these Sussex friendly spaces, some of which have only been around for a year. But somebody's got to do it. I hate that that is part of it. I'd rather just say all of these glowing things about the Sussexes and nothing else. But who's pushing back? I hate a bully, and I hate the idea that there's this one-sided story. Um, Kate good, Megan bad, William good, Harry bad. They have even said that the Sussex kids were going to be spoiled and be brats and stuff. And I'm not talking about just people on social media. These things have come from the what do you call it? From the mainstream media. That's where it comes from. They haven't really started in on the kids yet, even though it's hard to say that because they've done a lot already, but they haven't really warmed up yet. They haven't really warmed up. Um, it is going to be this until those Wells kids, until Will and Kate's kids are old enough to be the story, and I really mean to be the story. Well, until they get to that point where they have cast Louis into his role and of course, Charlotte will have the characterization that they determine, and so will George. George is going to be the sensible one, the one who displays all of the characteristics of great leadership. He'll be the one that has to keep the other ones in line. They have already come up with the storyline. They're just waiting for them to get old enough. So if they're doing that with the Cambridge kids, what do you think they have in store for the Sussex children? Nothing good, I can guarantee you that. So, yeah, it is going to be pushback. There's going to be dragging. There's going to be messiness. There's going to be all those things. As long as I can talk, I am going to do exactly that. So it is unfortunate, but somebody's got to do it. And it's really unfair, but that's just the way things are. Is that the tabloid media, they have no incentive to stop what they're doing. The entire industry is built upon harassing people. The this is the same tabloid media who hacked into a dead teenager's phone. The same tabloid media that harassed a mother of a young woman who died suddenly from a basic flu, which happens sometimes. Um, the regular flu is just as terrible as anything, and it happens. And they thought that this was a good storyline, and they demanded that this mother who was in grief talk to them, and they were very persistent. There were reporters that descended on this small town a small, quiet community because they thought it was something that could make money. They could sell papers. And now, of course, they want clicks and engagement. That is not going to stop anytime soon. That is a $1 billion industry. You could even say that it's over $1 billion just going after the Sussexes. They wouldn't do it if it didn't make money. But it made me really alarmed that this person used all the talking points. And then at the end of it, she says, um, let's see, don't you see that? Stop comparing her to Kate, because the only reason this comparison uh, is brought because Meghan started it. Meghan started it? Princess Catherine has never publicly said anything about let me see, Princess Catherine, well, she meant Meghan, while Meghan keeps throwing nasty shade saying she's racist. You've never heard Meghan say she's racist, but that is what this person believes. That is what this person believes. The lie becomes the truth because the entire infrastructure, all of the people that are involved in the British tabloid media and even the mainstream British media, which is one and the same. What am I saying? They all say the same things. And this person, I actually, I've seen enough of this person's personal information online that if I was a terrible person, that's all I could say. If I was a terrible person, um, I would really push back. But I'm not going to do that. But I deleted this person, by the way, so you won't find this on the in the comments. But yeah, this person has the whole story about how Meghan makes trouble every place she goes. But that is the narrative from the tabloid media. Now, they can't go back into her past and find anybody she's ever worked with, anybody from school to collaborate this idea that Meghan is the troublemaker. All of these stories started in 2016, 17, and then it really ramped up in 2018. And it's been onward and upward. But instead of asking me, how come I don't see what kind of person she is? How come you don't see how ridiculous you are for being um, gaslit and taking these big spoonfuls of propaganda? They're lying to you. They are giving you talking points. And I mean to tell you, these people, they list all of these things that they have heard repeated by the British reporters. And it's not enough that it's going on over there. They try to bring as much of it over here as they can. They would spend their time on American television every day if it was allowed. Now, fortunately, because of the pushback of the Sussex squad, they don't have free reign to American television the way that they used to. But in the early days of the wedding and the marriage and everything, they were a daily fixture on the morning shows and they would explain everything. And that's why it was important to leave, because if they were still over there, they would look to those people to tell you what the Sussexes are doing and thinking and how they have violated the protocol and how they have misled the Queen. All of those lies that they would have free access to American television every day, they would keep telling those lies. And I have had enough of it. I am just sick of it. Do you hear me? Sick! I'm just sick of it. So this is why we push back. And this is why, as much as we would love to spend our day talking about all the wonderful things about Harry and Meghan, we are going to spend even if it's the majority of the time, pushing back and exposing and dragging whenever we choose necessary to do that. So that is just part of it. It's unfortunate, but I wish they would focus on the rest of the royal family and leave Harry and Meghan alone. But they won't, because the only way you can get the engagement that you want is to throw Harry and Meghan in there to create a comparison. Do you like Coke or Pepsi? Good versus evil. That is the only way you could do it. And I tell you, I really enjoy when I look at the comments and I see how frustrated and how angry and how disappointed they are. They say that, oh, this is a channel full of people that must be on drugs. They're what a crazy bunch of people. They don't understand how you could have a whole group of people that see things a certain way different from the way they see it. Well, don't you know that I feel the exact same way when I look at some of those comment sections for things that uh, have nothing to do with the Sussexes? It's all about Will and Kate. But what do? They have to bring Harry and Meghan into it. I'm always relieved when they just enjoy what Will and Kate are doing, what Charles and Camilla are doing. But it doesn't work that way because they're boring and nobody's interested. The only people that are interested are a bunch of MAGA and Brexit people. MAGA and Brexit. Those are the only people that are over there blowing a trumpet for them. So enjoy the dullest people that have ever drawn a breath. Judy Matassa says, "You go, Baron. Thank you for all you do. Thank you very much for supporting Royal Sussex and also for having a membership. Greatly appreciate it." And Elaine Parker, thank you for being here this morning for you. And thank you for the super sticker and also for being a member of Royal Sussex. All right. But yeah, it would be a whole different world if it wasn't for the Sussex squad. And, I don't care if the Sussexes never say Sussex squad. I don't care if they never watch Royal Sussex or anything like that. I really don't care. I don't care. I don't even want them to mention Royal Sussex. Plausible deniability is probably the best thing because any little thing is used against them. And I definitely would not want to be the source of any of that nonsense. So I will discreetly and quietly stay in my corner and lash out when I feel necessary to do so. And I'm going to just keep on keeping on. So, okay. Plus, as Tina and Michelle used to say all the time, this is so much bigger than just Harry and Meghan, and it really is. It really is. And given the way the tabloid media works, I wish that more people, more of the older pensioners, the pensioners in the UK, the ones that are most loyal to the monarchy, I wish they understood that at any given time, they or their families could fall victim to that propaganda machine known as the tabloid media. Any of them could fall victim to that. You have the 7/7 bus bombing, and you got them tipping into the hospital, posing as delivery people and nurses, trying to interview people at their beds and finding out every little private thing about their lives as though that is going to decide whether or not they had this coming or we don't have that here in the US. We just don't. And I'm amazed that people tolerate that, but I guess if you don't know any other way, then it's normal. Yeah, it's normal. Okay. So oh yeah, I remember that from the past in East Dublin. Exactly. It always starts off so subtle. And well, I mean, we had Donald Trump. There's a cult that surrounds his personality. As a matter of fact, they call it a cult of personalities. So it's so easy to get drawn into those things. And I know people in my life that have a certain personality type where they just accept everything that's in print. They accept anything that they see on television. I'm one of the few people that I know of. And I remember when I was, people would look at me like I was some conspiracy theorist. I talked about things in the Middle East for years, and people would give me that uh, I'm a talking dog look, like you know what I'm saying? They would look at me like I'm a talking dog, like what I was saying was so bizarre. And now all of a sudden, these Middle Eastern things have become mainstream, and there's a generation of people that are hearing it. Actually, several generations of people that are hearing it for the first time. None of that is new to me. None of it. And I've been talking about it for years, but the thing is, people really weren't that interested. And now there are things that people can say publicly that they couldn't have said a year ago, all because of what's happening in Gaza and the West Bank and Israel. All of those things have become mainstream, whereas before we only got one side of the story. I used to tell the other side of the story, but people didn't listen. People didn't care. You know, I just feel vindicated that finally it is a topic of conversation. And yes, there's a lot of people that are falling out and losing friends and such and losing their jobs. But the point is, there were people that were suffering in silence and the rest of the world ignored them. Now, all of a sudden, people are paying attention. And I'm glad for that. So, um, and I don't begrudge anybody who just goes about their lives and don't follow everything that happens in the news. You really shouldn't, because it's not healthy, and it's a weight and a burden that if you don't have good analytical skills, if you can't compartmentalize a lot of those things, it can destroy you. You have to hear the whole story. Unfortunately, some people hear a sound bite and they think they know everything. So, and that's what frustrates me about the Sussexes, is that there are people that give me sound bites, but they never ask the deeper question. Well, why would a person react that way? Why would a person do that? I'm amazed at the people who say Harry could be over there doing this and doing that. They don't know how Harry was living. They know how the tabloid media depicts things. Like there's this life of luxury. I would not want to be an adult man who has to depend on my older brother financially, wondering if he's going to kick me out of my house one day, if he's going to give me a title, but I can't pass it on to my children. Is he going to strip away my security? Is he going to cut my pay? All of these things, right? The Queen was more generous with the relatives than Charles has been. Charles has been awful. Charles has been taking and taking and putting everything into a nice, tidy package so that he can hand it to William. Whereas the Queen, she put her relatives in Kensington Palace and other royal properties and gave them the mother of all discounts on their rent. And I think that's the proper thing to do. I mean, after all, that's family. That's family. You can't throw them to the wolves. It's not like the money's not there. I'm not saying that that money, should be kept within the family. I think a lot of that money that they have belonged to the public, but it was sensible. Charles, he is so punitive about everything. It seems as though he wants to punish people for the sake of punishing them, the family, and not, people who deserve to be punished. So the Queen had a bit of wisdom where that's concerned. She didn't pretend like the money wasn't there for her family. Charles pretends like the money is not there for his family, but he's not sharing the money with the public. He's only taking in more money. So I'm glad that the Sussexes are away from that. I used to say a long time ago that I would never want to be at the mercy of my abusive older brother for the rest of my life. You know, God will do for you what you can't do for yourself. And God got him out of there. Got him out of there. God found a way. Um, and it's working out. The only thing is we have to push back against the tabloid media, and we have to expose a lot of these things that have been happening with this leaking and briefing from the houses of Windsor. They have been getting away with it, but again, not much longer, because even though it may not seem like it, this Endgame book has been quite an impact, or had quite the impact on them. And that's why you find all of this pushback, is because that book has caused a panic. And right now, it may seem like it has made things worse for Harry and Meghan, but long term, you just have to have faith that it is going to make a difference. Better to have these things publicly on the record as opposed to closed away somewhere where where it makes it easier for them to get away with things. But now they're open and they're exposed, and they're pushing back. And trust me, by the first of the year, actually by Christmas, before Christmas, to be frank, before Christmas, the Cambridges are going to disappear. They usually are away for January and February. They're going to take a long vacation. That's why they're doing all this work now, and then in the spring they'll come back and do a lot of work all of a sudden. But uh, they don't work a whole lot. They are just getting a lot of exposure because they need it, because we are making them work harder. So that's why it seems like they're everywhere. But and also, I'm, you know what, I'm gonna get moving here, because it's been almost 30 minutes and I'm still on the first slide. Jeannie Rock Bailey, thank you so much for the super sticker. How can a father treat his son like Charles treats Harry? He and his family must be protected. So says you, so says the Queen, so say we all. So say we all. And you know, I just want to also say I was one of the few people that had a little more faith in the Queen's relationship with the Sussexes. Um, I thought that there had to be something more to it. Remember, I kept saying there's got to be more to the story. All is not what it appears. And it turns out that the Queen had a letter drafted, which she likely signed herself, about their protection. But this woman who was 90 plus years old just did not have her voice anymore. They took her voice away from her. And whether the Queen was the best or the worst person in history, where the British government is concerned and the Commonwealth and all that, one thing is for certain: she felt a certain way about her family, in particular for Harry, and let's see, for the sick old man, and I would say even for Charles, who gave her a lot of grief. And I mean, she took care of her family in certain ways, and she made a way for her family. But the shadow that was lurking all these years, Charles, um, there had to be certain concessions for Charles' future as the monarch, because there was no way that was going to change. There was no way that the Queen was going to make it William instead of Charles, and all the other things that people were saying. There was just, that was a big hurdle, and it was just not possible. So Charles, with his meddlesome ways, was always going to be a factor. But to some extent, the queen always took care of her family. And yes, when she was younger, she did her uncle wrong, she did her sister wrong. But over time, like most older people, she became a little more mellow and pliable. And and Harry had to respect her position and authority as his commander in chief, whilst at the same time he had his father's future to deal with. So there was a lot going on, and it's just not as cut and dry. Nothing ever is. Nothing ever is. Doesn't matter how poor or how rich, nothing is ever that cut and dry, and everybody has their limitations. Everybody will succumb to influence from people around them. It doesn't matter who you are, and you can make a lot of mistakes. And I think that the queen made a lot of mistakes because she had to try to please everyone. So that is why we are in this situation. But thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for being a member of Royal Sussex. Always a pleasure. Let's see. Leg says, "What brother? I'm sorry. What brother? What bothers me most is the gaslighting. The U.S. media ignores cosplay Karen Kate, ignores abusive William and cruel Charles. The family is toxic. Yeah, they won't tell that story. They just won't. I don't know if it's a professional courtesy from one media outlet to the other, but they just won't tell the story, and it's very difficult to uh, to be sympathetic to someone who is supposedly privileged, someone who is well off. It is very difficult, and because this does not involve a young blonde, this involves a woman of color and her husband who has grown up in the House of Windsor. There's not that type of sympathy there. If only they could get the type of consideration that they give a Britney Spears, and she's not always treated so well. Sometimes the mainstream media craps all over her. So it's just not done. It's just not done. The mainstream media are either not equipped or not willing to tell the entire story. It is very frustrating because even like if they just had a good 60-minute piece, I mean American 60-minute, not the Australian version, which is dreadful, but if they had a good 60-minute piece, that would go a long way. If there was a good investigative reporter. But even with that, there's so much pushback, so immediate is it, so much pushback that it drowns out the message. And this is why you could never have the Sussexes take on every little thing that happens. And I have a friend that always seems to believe that if this person would just sit down and tell their story, if they've tried that, and it is immediately drowned out, and every little thing is picked apart, which is why I feel absolutely no guilt for dragging the rest of that family. The only thing I don't do is talk about those kids. I leave those kids alone because they're kids. But the rest of them are fair game because they benefit from all of the negativity directed toward the Sussexes. They benefit from all of the negative press. That benefits them. That bolsters their image. By tearing down one person, it seems to uplift the other. And until social media, there was no real pushback. Princess Diana just did not have people that were vocal enough that could push back against that. And meanwhile, the tabloids were making money hand over fist. Thank you so much, Lex, for the super chat. And thank you for being here. Let's see, Andrew Bodie, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for being here. Okay, so we better start doing these slides. We'll be here all night. Okay, so Prince Harry ordered to pay legal fees to Daily Mail publisher in libel case. Well, first of all, I'm going to say to NBC News, thank you for finding one of the hottest photos of Harry that you could post. I mean to tell you, this is like the Lincoln Memorial profile picture. I mean, look at that strong jawline, and the hair is looking super full. The suit is impeccably tailored. Thank you. I mean, the lighting is crap, but I don't care about that. Harry looks good. So if you are going to talk about me owing money, thank you for finding the most delicious photo of me you could find. Everybody should be that lucky. Right? Right? Everybody should be that lucky. Uh, SF, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for being here. Greatly appreciate it. But yeah, everybody should be that lucky. Harry looks good. Those chiseled good looks. So anyway, this is from NBC News, and basically, you've probably heard it several times today. London judge ordered Prince Harry on Monday to pay nearly £50,000 or more than $60,000 in legal fees to the publishers of the Daily Mail tabloid for his failed court challenge in a libel lawsuit. So the Duke of Sussex is suing Associated Newspaper Limited over an article that said Harry tried to hide his efforts to retain publicly funded protection in the UK after leaving his role as a working member of the royal family. Justice Matthew Nicklin ruled Friday in the High Court in London that the publisher had a real prospect of showing that statements issued on Harry's behalf were misleading and that the February 2022 article reflected an honest opinion and wasn't libelous. The defendant may well submit that this was a masterclass in the art of spinning, Nicklin wrote. In refusing to strike the honest opinion defense, Harry has claimed the article was fundamentally inaccurate and the newspaper defamed him when it suggests he lied in his initial public statement over efforts to challenge the government's decision to strip him of his security detail after he and his family moved to the US in 2020. So, this is just one part of it, right? And moreover, yes, it is better to win. I will admit it is better to win. I mean, after all, a win is a win, whether it's by 2 points or 100 points. A win is a win. However, for this situation, there are certain layers to the case. And um, I think Harry more so wants to expose the people in the media, expose them for all of their terrible and dreadful tactics, as well as to get the truth out about the leaving process. Um, I think Harry wants truth, not profit. If Harry was just after money, he would have settled, but he's not going to settle. Harry, with the advice of counsel, has decided to pursue all of the people that have wronged him or his family or his mother, and he's going after the British tabloid media. He is taking on a giant. I mean, his middle name is David, and this is literally David and Goliath. He is taking on a giant, and it's not going to be easy. It's not going to seem sensible, but this is what he needs, right? This is what he needs. And plus, by taking these people on, it's the only way that he can protect his family in the future. So, uh, again, it doesn't always have to be so obvious to us, but with the litigation, you're going to find that a lot of truths will be exposed. Like, for instance, this letter from the Queen about the future security for the Sussexes. How would we have known about that if it wasn't for a court case? When would we had ever heard such a thing? The likelihood is no. So this way, whatever happens in the future, the evildoers, they don't get a chance to pretend otherwise. Isn't that what they did to Diana? Oh, she didn't want security. Oh, yeah, she rejected security. She didn't want it. Now that really throws that into question, doesn't it? Did she reject security or was it stripped from her? Now we're getting somewhere. So not only is it an opportunity for Harry to have a voice, but every now and again you hear from Diana. And miraculously, we've actually heard from the Queen. The Queen thought it imperative that they have the necessary security. How would we have ever known about that if it wasn't for these court cases? They were trying to bury Harry. They were trying to bury him. They were trying to literally create a continued narrative that would have given everything to his brother and taken everything from him. The way they wanted things, Harry would have just stayed over there and have been quietly living a frustrated life. And not only that, they were going to turn that abuse on his wife and his children forever. They would have had to live under William's thumb. Fortunately, that's just not the case. So during discovery, we're learning things. We're learning things. And yes, it is unnerving, some of this stuff, but it's necessary if we are going to have any truth or any peace of mind. It is necessary. So I always say just trust Harry, trust the process, and don't be defeatist. Do not be defeatist. Do not let these headlines uh, turn you inside out, because if you allow that to happen, then they've already won. They've already won. And I for one, just don't want to give them the benefit of that. Yes, there's always a time when you have to say, okay, enough is enough. It's time to move on. But until such time, as long as we got some fight in us, we have to do what we got to do. And this is defending the family. This is defending his family. Otherwise, and whoever Harry married, it wasn't going to be easy. But as they say, throw in the racial component, and it just makes it that much worse. And I still remember Megan saying that her friends were like, "Is he worth it? Is he worth it?" Well, I tell you what, um, to be married to someone that will fight your corner, help you fight your corner, that will defend you come what may. You know, their life's work is your happiness and your children's happiness. Um, Faith sometimes intervenes, and things happen for a reason. So that's all I can say is all of this is in the hands of a greater power than anyone in the courts or in the royal family or in the government or whatever. So just be patient and don't be defeatist. Otherwise, you know, Harry would have spent the rest of his life just like his uncle, quietly brooding in a corner somewhere. But God had another plan. So all of this is part of a greater plan. I really do believe that. I mean, poor Edward, just slowly turning into Anthony Perkins in Psycho. Um, he's slowly turning into Anthony Perkins. I just really get that Anthony Perkins psycho energy from him. right down to him even dressing like his mother. So trust the process. It is going to make sense at some point. But for now, keep the faith. That's all I can say is keep the faith. Let's see what is next. Okay, I'll just leave it there for a second and take a look at a few of your comments here. Uh, oh, thank you for that, Ingrid. Hey, P10, thank you for being here tonight. Yeah, trust the process. Thank you so much, TV. Oh, yeah, that is going to be illuminating. It may take some years, but we will get the information. Oh, and Charlotte, thank you for being here. Let me see. Corrupt judges, tribunal, what else? Racist and the media, the British media. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Charlotte. And let's see. I think the royal family just don't know how damaging they look to everyone outside of Salty Island. I don't think they can repair this. Um, I don't think they care enough. I don't think they care enough. The thing about the courtiers is the courtiers see to your comfort day after day, and they tell you what you want to hear. And William is stubborn. And as someone was saying, that William, I think one of the squatties on the Twitter was saying that William, it's not that he doesn't want to see Harry, he can't face him because William knows what he's done and he knows how crooked he's been. William has William is not he doesn't have a long-term strategy, which is why he's never been able to accomplish anything. In all these years, he has accomplished very little. And so he doesn't have a very strategic mind. He lives in the moment. He's quite impatient. And the people that serve him, they give him the short-term gratification that he needs. And so there's no idea of him ever doing anything long term, which is why you keep seeing these big announcements about how he's going to do this and do that, and he's going to change this and change that. And it's all lip service. Nothing is ever long term. The only long term commitment that he's had is his marriage. And you see how that's working out. So, other than that, he's not a committed person. And the people that work for him, they will tell him what he wants to hear, but they don't take him serious. Because if you don't care about your own life, you are not going to find willing people, even if they're paid, that are going to push and cajole you into doing something for your benefit. Either you want to do it or you do not. And Kate is much the same way. Kate is handled. Kate is guided. Kate is a product of a well orchestrated, well crafted media campaign. And it's not only in house, but also she has gotten great favor from the tabloid media. And if it wasn't for the people that handled them, they would be nothing. Either one of them would be nothing. And it is frustrating that they're getting all of these quirks and benefits sheerly based on an accident of birth and the strategy of marriage. That is the only reason why this stuff is happening for them. And it's sad because a lot of the people that um, I guess I hate to say support them because they're not really supporting them. They're supporting that institution. But through them, they're supporting that institution. I hate the idea that they believe that hype about how hardworking they are when just 5 years ago you could look back and see where the people were frustrated at how lazy they are, right? But because of this carefully crafted media campaign, the lie has become, or should I say, a lie has become a truth, that they are hardworking and they're concerned about the future of the country, and they really just want to give children the guidance and the support that they need. That's all they think about. And so you got Kate uplifting families all of a sudden, and you got William concerned about the environment all of a sudden because they need something to look relevant and busy, and that people accept it as something that is really benefiting the future of the country is it's pretty sad, but it's part of a brand. And there is something known as British exceptionalism, where people um, they feel proud, and they really support the royal family because that gives them pride of place all over the world. That is part of their CV, their resume is, oh, you're a subject of His Majesty Charles III. There's people that like that. They're proud of that. It's part of their brand. So the royal brand is the national brand, which has become their brand. So it's a learned behavior, and it's how people have grown up. And you just have to be very aware that they don't see this the way we see it. We're looking at it from the outside in, and they're looking at it from the inside out. And on the inside, no matter how poor they are, they a lot of them believe that they're okay. A lot of them believe that they're okay. And if this was the way that you were intellectualized, the way you were raised, and you didn't know anything else, how else could you be? Now the younger people, of course, they have more of an eye outside of Britain, but for the people inside of that see only the inside, people who are still, I guess, benefiting from the post-war economy. The older people that were lucky enough to buy their home and to vacation several times a year, or holiday, if you will. Um, they don't feel it yet. But for the younger people who will never afford a home, who won't be able to travel abroad and take these trips to Thailand and Australia and Florida and those places like that, there's a lot of young people that are so frustrated because they just don't have that disposable income. And that doesn't mean that they blame the royal family, but it gives them an eye outside. And eventually the brain drain is something to worry about, because a lot of the professionals, they're going abroad for work because they can make more money than they would make in Britain, unless you work in a financial district or something, or unless you're working with the government. There's just not that type of income anymore where you can just go and buy a house. It's too expensive. It's way out of reach. So that's the aggravating problem for the institution, is that they don't have that same chokehold over the younger people as they've had all these years. It's been easy with the older crowd because, like, let me see. Only one of my parents lived through the depression, and that was still very young. But I, s- me growing up, I still have a little bit of a depression era mentality, right? There's a lot of older adults that still have that depression era mentality compared to the generation that followed. that don't think about any of that stuff at all. But I have like this consciousness about the post depression era where people just did not take things for granted. And if there's a bargain or you got that good job, you didn't want to leave it or whatever. Whereas the younger generation, they're more apt to just like, oh, I'm not happy here, and just go someplace else. Well, that wasn't me. I grew up, oh, you better stay on that good job. A good job is hard to find. So yeah, I do have a bit of a depression era mentality, even though I didn't exist at that time, but I kind of inherited that from my parents and my grandparents. So okay, thank you, TB. Let us move on. Alrighty. Hello, Ivy here. Ivy, hey Ivy, Ivy of Sussex Global. Congratulations on 4,000 subscribers. Well deserved, I might add. And thank you for being here. Uh, oh, make it stop. Stop. There we go. I just hit the wrong button. All right, so there we go. I'm going to put Ivy's link at the top of the chat. Okay. Well, that kind of scared me. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but I accidentally turned on another video. Ah, nice. Okay, got it taken care of. Hello, Ivy here. Bye for now. Bye from Ivy. Bye. I love saying that. Let's see. Decision to take away Prince Harry and Meghan's royal protection went against Queen Elizabeth's wishes. What else is new? Well, as I was saying, this is one of those things that really came about because, well, because of the court case. If it wasn't for these court cases, we wouldn't have learned about this. It probably would have just remained a secret. In nearly 4 years since Prince Harry and Meghan Markle left their roles as senior royals, few issues have spawned as much controversy, debate, and legal arguments as their protection. Harry had enjoyed since his birth. This week, let's see, there was developments in two separate court cases about security issues, including a court hearing over his security status during visits to the UK. Then on Friday, Harry was dealt a legal setback in the libel case against Associated Newspaper parent company, the Mail, on Sunday over a February 2022 article that is um, about his battle for security. So, for one, I hate the idea that the security is publicly debated. I do wish that this was something that could have been handled discreetly, but as you know, because things kind of leak here and there in Narnia, it has become part of the public debate, and that is really, really unfortunate. I didn't like it when they were in Canada. I don't like it now. I think it's really unfortunate that this is part of a public debate, because the whole idea of the security surrounding anyone is that is something that is discreetly handled. I mean, for instance, take a look at the royal protection for the royal family. They won't give the actual cost of security for the royal family. Now, if you add up that cost along with what they get from the sovereign grant, it would exceed 350 million pounds a year, according to Republic. But we only hear around 100 and whatever something pounds a year. The actual figure is far greater, because any event surrounding that family, right, that involves security. All of the royal properties involve security 24 hours a day, Whether or not they're home, it doesn't matter. Camilla's house is quite secure because of public funding. All of that adds up, and 350 million pounds a year. If Harry and Meghan can expect to spend between 3 to 5 million a year for their security, for their one property, and let's say with Doria, one, two, four people, um, one property, four people, and they're spending about that much. Imagine if they had some 20 or 30 properties and multiple family members, right? And big public events that required security. Well, do the math, multiply that times whatever, and I believe that the 350 million pounds is accurate. It's if it's one family, okay, yeah, 3 to 5 million a year. But for um, dozens of people, several properties, right? Overseas trips and all of that, yeah, then it comes up to about 350 million pounds. And also, let us not forget transportation. They ran up quite a bill in transportation during the pandemic, and it wasn't even any place to go. So, how much is that a day? 350 million divided into 365 days. How much is that a day? Think about the daily costs for all of this, and you'll find that that number is pretty accurate. I believe it. I don't think 100 million pounds could cover that. So, let's see. What else here? Though the High Court Justice Matthew Nicklin denied Prince legal team summary judgment in the case against Associated Newspaper, the court's 37-page decision shares new details about the behind-the-scenes struggle over security costs in the wake of his exit from the royal duties. The decision quotes a January 2020 letter from Queen Elizabeth II, Private Secretary Sir Edward Young, or Sir Two Face, Sir Fork Tongue, to then Cabinet Secretary Mark Sidwell, or is it Sidwell, which claims the late Queen took a special interest in ensuring that the couple had access to security after leaving royal duties behind. The case is expected to go to trial next year. So, if they ignored the Queen's wishes about the Sussexes staying at the Frogmore Cottage, right? That was taken away. They tried to kick the sick old man out of his house, right? He wouldn't budge. Uh, Edward's title, Duke of Edinburgh, finally granted to him after whatever hoops he had to jump through. You would have thought that when the Queen died, they would have just given it to him. But no, you would have thought when Philip died that he would have been granted the title. But no, Charles held on to that title from the day Philip died until he felt good and GD well like giving it to him. That goes against the Queen's wishes. And the Queen was still alive during part of that, but at that point she had been stripped of her voice. And the list goes on and on. A lot of things that the Queen had in place have been taken away or removed or ignored because the very capricious and petulant Charles III said so. And that's it. And Edward is not even able to pass the title on to his son. His son won't get the title. It goes back to the crown. That was not part of the original agreement. It is now. And I think for a while, they were actually going to hold that title for Charlotte. And then, because of the public outcry, eventually they caved. But that was not the initial. Plus, again, there was a signed document saying that Edward was supposed to have that title. But poor Edward, poor, brooding, groveling Edward had to wait and wait and wait, suffering in silence because Charles felt like it. None of this makes any sense. It really doesn't. To take in more money than you ever had before to support the crown and to give less of it to the rest of the family and to totally like block your youngest child from everything in spite of all the extra you're taking in. Public opinion does not matter. It's whatever the tabloids say. Whatever the tabloids say they should think, that seems to be the way the majority of people see it. It has even had a huge effect over the consciousness of millions of Americans who seem to believe everything the British tabloid media says. So if you can convince most of the older people in that country and quite a few of the older people in this country to believe that nonsense, then Harry could have had round the clock royal protection, even here in the US, and it would not have been an issue. It's only an issue because they make it an issue. That's the only reason why, because that's what Rupert Murdoch wants. That's what Lord Nappyhead wants, is for it to be an issue. Otherwise, there would be nothing said about it. Do you think that any member of the first family here in the US, do you think that anybody here in the US has ever questioned how much money is spent for Secret Service protection? It's just not done. There's been occasions when Fox News will talk some nonsense about a Democrat, but by and large, there's nothing said about it. It's just a fact of life. That person's life has been made vulnerable because of their public role, and we will pay for it. That's it. There's no argument about it. But because of the tabloid media, it has turned into something completely like a circus. It has turned into a circus when it really should not be the case. Just pay for it and be done with it. It's not all that serious. The money is there. There's money for a lot of things, but Charles just stockpiles it. For what? I don't know. I mean, from the look of him, it doesn't seem like he has that many years ahead of him. What will he ever do with the money? What will he ever do with it? Besides supporting Camilla's family, what will he do with the money? Who also gets royal protection now. Okay, moving on. Women are already sharing stories of how their physical safety is being put in danger. Women with resources will travel to get a procedure. Those without might attempt to give themselves one of those procedures, one at tremendous risk. What does this tell women? It tells us that our physical safety doesn't matter. And as a result, that we don't matter, but we do. Women matter. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. So yeah, someone shared that today. Oh, speaking of sharing, thank you for the oh, thank you for the Cash App. Just got a Cash App from Kay. Thank you very much. All right, very nice. And oh, you know what? I didn't realize I got a Cash App on Saturday from GV. Thank you very much for that. Didn't even see that. Okay. Now, let's get to some good news, shall we? Let's get to some good news. We need a reset. How about a break beat? All righty then. Archewell, the Archewell Impact Report. That's what it is. It's the Archewell Impact Report. Archewell Foundation Impact Report 2022-2023. So for the past year, they have their impact report prepared. Archewell Foundation 2022-2023 Impact Report. We are committed to a simple but profound mission. Show up, do good. We believe in the power of community building as a potent and transformative solution for mental wellness and the cornerstone of our collective well-being. Okay. Okay. And okay, check out the photos, right? This is, well, I got to make sure I give you guys the link for that in the community tab. But uplifting communities, check. Building a better online world, check. And of course, restoring trust in information, check. Let's see, Marcelina Martinez. I like that name, Marcelina Martinez. Thanks, Baron, for all you do. God bless you always. Thank you very much for that. And thank you for being here tonight. Okay, so they have a video, and I am going to share it with you. It's only a minute long. Some of you all may have seen it already on the shorts, but okay, let me see. Here goes. Yes, I love it. I love it. Isn't that wonderful? I mean, you just get a little glimpse into all the stuff that has happened in the past year, some of it within the past couple months, right? But that was cool. That was cool. Restoring trust and information, building a better online world, and uplifting communities. That's what we up to, sure enough. So by the numbers, 3,176 hours of trauma informed mental health support provided to individuals in Turkey and Syria following the tragic earthquakes. 2,500 girls in Nigeria received menstrual products and health education. 2,500 girls in Nigeria. Oh, did I do that twice? Oh, yeah, sorry about that. And then 237 women coming together in communities through the Welcome Project, and 109 families engaged in listening projects to guide our work. So there you go. And then, oh, like I can see that, right? Let me see. Uh, that's small. Let me see what I can do here. Uh, don't worry, I got it. I'm going to try to make it bigger so I can see it here. Okay, that's not helping a lot. Let me try. I didn't think it through before I put it up there. That's what it is. These cynical old eyes of mine. Okay, so 3,176 hours. Got it. Women coming together. Got it. 2,500. Oh, here's what's new. 109 families engaged. Oh, did that one already. 15 insight sessions, 26 youth led organization support through Responsible Technology Youth Power Fun, and one parent summit on World Mental Health Day. 98% have developed a meaningful relationship or friendship. 97.7% have increased their sense of social connection and decreased feelings of loneliness. 98.8% feel their culture and lifestyle have been welcomed and treated with respect. Parents in this community have reported 87% feel this network has played an important role in their healing journey. 96% feel that they experience an increase in feelings of contact and care, and 91% feel that this space served as a supportive network. All right. Well done. Well done says one, well done says all. Okay. Acelia Ohashi, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for being here tonight on Royal Sussex. All right, very, very nice. Thank you. And there's a few more photos to enjoy. Um, I think I remember that day, right? Do I remember that day? That was when they were okay. Maybe, oh, that's the Harvest Home, right? Yeah, that was the Archewell Foundation Harvest Home. They were bagging up those things. And it looks like it was somebody's birthday that particular day. I don't remember how old these are. Archewell Foundation and Ginkgo Foundation. Am I saying that right? The Ginkgo Foundation. And let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, there's a closer photo of the birthday. I don't know how far back these goes, but they were sharing them today, so I thought for sure it had something to do with the impact report. Yeah, now see the one on the left side there. I got a feeling that this was from earlier in the summer. I think she got papped that day. But anyway, always good to see our Sussex team out and about. So, and then this is the first tabloid at 31. People aren't willing to pay for reading them digitally. Way too many Murdoch papers on this list. Wow. Yeah, that's one thing we got to remember is that Murdoch has multiple papers, including the Sun. Um, and I don't know what I was thinking because I can't see that either. Oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. I had to do a little something here. So, English language publishers with the most digital subscribers as of November 2023. New York Times looks like, are they number one? Really? Okay. And then there's The Athletic, The Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, Substack, whatever that is, Gannett, US Weekly, Dow Jones, News Corp Australia. That reeks of Murdoch, doesn't it? Weather Channel. Now these are digital, digital, right? Digitally, the first tabloid at 30. Oh, so let me see. So they're saying that the first tabloid doesn't really hit until it gets to number 31. All right, let's see. Let's see. Oh, I get it. I get it. So if you go all the way to 31, that is where you see the first tabloid, which there it is, the Daily Mail, 160,000 digital subscribers. They only have 160,000 people that have digital paid subscriptions. That's not a lot at all. The New York Times has 9.41 million paid subscribers, me being one of them, compared to the Daily Mail, which, by the way, has a far-reaching audience because the Daily Mail, you can still read it for free. But when it comes to paid subscriptions, they're all the way down at number 31. Go figure. Oh, thank you, Beverly Hardy. That was when they set up the nursery and baby room at Charity Kinco. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Huh. Well, that's good to know is that the tabloids, when it comes to paid subscribers, now let us get this straight though. They are making a fortune from advertisements. They are making a fortune. And a lot of those things that you click on will follow you all over the internet because of those cookies. They will follow you everywhere you go. So they are making a fortune. That's why it's hard to look at certain things because the advertisements are constantly generating and popping up, and it causes a lag time when you try to move from one article to the next. But it just goes to show that they are making their money from the advertisements and probably a lot of it. But when you have to pay out a $787 million settlement to a electronic voting company, then of course you're going to pay. Like an awkward family photo shoot from the 1990s, fans poke fun at Kate and William's Christmas card photo and claim it looks like it was taken at a shopping mall studio. Of course it does. And for some of you sharp eyed squatties, notice that Mike Singleton, who definitely is a Sussex supporter, is one of the many people that have been dragging them. Official Christmas card of Prince and Princess of Wales taken at a photo studio in a shopping mall. And then that other one is too small for me to see. Let me see if I can zoom in on it. Or can I? Anyway, doesn't matter. That they're being dragged is all I care about. Although I am kind of nosy and would like to see it. Oh, it says mass produced clothing and a mall photo with a drop cloth as backdrop is relatable and in no way inspirational. This could have been a opportunity to exemplify an appreciation for the handmade and supported artistry of the heritage of I'm sorry, not cold, old things. Instead, this photo exemplifies and promotes the royals' fading relevance and therefore need to camouflage uh, into the masses. Well, At least they aren't in matching Christmas pajamas. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. They went there. They went there. That's all I can say is they went there. At least they're not in matching pajamas. That'll be next year, of course. I think that person just gave them an idea. Funny you should say that, Joy Amore. Stick around and all shall be revealed, I promise. So, Royal Christmas Card showcases Kate's new undone glamour look in jeans, and Princess of Wales shows that Meghan is not the, oh God, here we go. Meghan is not the only one who can nail California cool, but she has a new rival in the fashion stakes, Princess Charlotte. Now, that is very disturbing. The fact that Princess Charlotte is being commoditized, should I say, by I that sounds icky to me. That sounds icky to me. Um, that you create a rivalry between adults, but to try to set up this foundation for the rivalry with mother and daughter is, and I don't believe that there ever would be, but I just don't like that kind of talk. They should not do that to that child. Prince Louis baffles eagle-eyed fans in Prince William and Kate Middleton's Christmas card snap. Now, I said yesterday I didn't think that there was anything wrong, but I can see what other people are seeing. I would like to believe that it's just, the way his hands are curled over the handle, but I suppose the argument could be made that there is some type of Photoshop going on there. The Prince and Princess of Wales released a black and white family portrait that adorns with the front of their Christmas card. But some fans have been left scratching their heads with a small detail related to the youngest son, Prince Louis. Meaning, of course, the way his hand is curled over that chair. Um, hmm, yeah, okay. Well, there it is. So there's the close up. And by the way, this was in the fail. The fail, has decided to run with this for whatever reason. They love a good conspiracy. So it does look kind of wonky, but I'm going to say his thumb is out of sight. And what looks like it could have been his thumb is actually is that the index finger? And then of course, you see what I'm saying? I know what it looks like, but I just don't think that it is. I mean, I am curling my hand over the arm of my chair right now in a similar way. Oh, wait, I would have to be standing on the other side for that to make sense, wouldn't I? So the index finger is curled down, which is why it looks like it's a thumb. And then the longest finger that is you know, pointed straight out, and then the other two are curled over the side. So I don't think that looks like a Photoshop. It looks weird. It looks weird. It almost looks like they should have just photoshopped another hand, but they did not. But I think it's just the very awkward way that he has his hand curled over the chair. That's too much of a gap. Well, I mean, and you see the way it looks very light and pale in between the gap. That is just the lighting between the fingers. I just don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I think it looks odd. It looks a bit wonky, but and as I said yesterday, it does seem as though I'm gonna let's go back to yesterday. That would be the easiest thing to do is to go back to yesterday, and I'll show you what I've noticed yesterday. Now, yesterday I saw some things, but it wasn't in relation to Louis. It was William that I found a bit puzzling. Like, for instance, here, I promise you that looks like the same face. William's face looks identical from 2017 to, oh, let me stop doing that. Yeah. I mean, it looks identical. The one on the right is 2017. The one on the left is 2023. Oh, I don't have another close up of that. But yeah, so the color photo that you see there, William's expression has not changed. And William does have a problem with his facial expressions. And I could understand why they would want to move the one from over there to over here just so that they can get a proper smile on his face, because William tends to grimace more so than smile. So I am going to say that I do believe that William may be photoshopped. And then there's something odd about, let me see. Let me go back over here. I'm trying to get like the one that I haven't copied and pasted. Oh, well. But yeah, it was something odd about the legs underneath that looked weird. But anyway, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. But it is rather strange. I will admit that it seems a bit off. It doesn't look like he has a middle finger. Yeah, and I was listening to Pedo talk about it, and as you guys know, Pedo is a very capable photographer. So, I mean, a paid professional photographer. So, you would have to assume that Pedo would know better, right? One would only assume Pedo knows better. And Pedo says it looks a bit strange. She said when she first looked at it, just like there's a family and some children. The children look cute, and she moved on. And then all of a sudden, she said the next day she started seeing all of these things like this and this. And so then it didn't seem to be so okay. So I don't think the Daily Mail would run the article about it if it wasn't something to it, seeing how much they love that family. But we do know that that photo of the Queen with the grandchildren, that was definitely photoshopped. So I would say when it comes to photos of the family, it's running like what, 50-50. This has been photoshopped, this is not. And Williams Photoshop history goes back a long way. Remember, William didn't smile in one of those family photos, and they had to Photoshop or edit at the time. They edited a different photo of William because he would not smile. And that seems like that I'm not going to smile gene has been passed on to one of his children, who is wearing a Ralph Lauren polo shirt. Did you notice that George is showing? Now, notice the tabloids didn't say George sends a nod to Prince Harry by wearing a Ralph Lauren polo shirt. Well, he is wearing Ralph Lauren, but they won't say that because that would be too much of a compliment to Harry. Well, I tend to believe that there's nothing wrong with Louis' photo, but it looks strange. But that just may be an optical illusion. So I would say that the other photo where they were, where he was supposed to be with the other grandchildren, I think there was something off about that. But I don't think that there's anything to this one. So again, these are from yesterday. Um, Now I want to show you guys this. You see the mailbox there? I was trying to figure out whose cipher that was. The cipher is that little emblem at the bottom of the mailbox, not in the black part, but just above the black. You can see one of the royal ciphers, right? Uh, Come on, Ivy. Ivy says William wasn't there. I don't think he was there either. There's just something rather odd about the fact that that head is tilted in the identical way from 2017. It's as though he hasn't aged a bit. So that's what I believe too. Let's see. Tony. Hi, Baron. It looks like Louis has one leg. Thank you for that super chat. Okay, let me do this before I go any further because I did a what do you call it? The I want to. No, okay, I got to get rid of her. Hold on, bad girl. There you go. Let me do this because I want to make sure that everything looks proper. So, um, and the way that I had put those two images together, when you what do you call it? When you do a cut and paste, sometimes things are lost. So I want to make sure that I put it back. Um, well, you'll understand in just a second, but let me do this so that I can make sure that I am doing my due diligence to share things properly. Okay. Okay. Thank you again for the super sticker. And oh, wait, where did it go? Wait, it's not here yet. Oh, fudge. Pardon my language. Let me try it one more time. Or is it? What happened to it? Oh, man. Well, let me try this one. Oh, there we go. So take a look. It's kind of hard to see it, but okay. So I see one shoe, I see the other shoe. Um, it looks like William's foot is sticking out to the side, right? So let me see if I can crop that and get in just a little bit closer. Let me try to crop that. And then we can give it a good old examination the way it should be properly done. Oh, okay. So I will crop it so we can see everything the way it ought to be seen up close. Because we are the Sussex Squad Detective Agency. And you know what? I'm going to lighten up the photo too because it's kind of dark. So I'm going to make it lighter so hopefully we'll be able to see better. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to try this one more time. So I wonder why they have it. It's not cropped that well. It's like they're so far away from the lens, right? I did not understand that part. Why they're so far away. Okay, hopefully that helps, you see. So I made it brighter. Now I see both of Louis's little legs, and I see both shoes. I see William's foot sticking out. I didn't zoom in on the hand because it kind of loses clarity if I do that. But yeah, it looks fine. He's wearing short pants. I think it looks fine. It does look strange. The hand does look strange. And again, I don't think that William was it doesn't seem like he was there. It doesn't seem like he was there. Either that or he just did not have a good look on his face. And so they went back to 2017 and you know what I mean? It looks like it looks identical to 2017. Wow. So that's odd. All right. So there's that. There's that. I hope that has solved the mystery. Let's see. Look at the shadow by Catherine's arm where they spliced it. Where they spliced them into it. Okay, I will admit that looks a little strange. It they're all bunched up like that. The way they're all bunched in, at least the back row, the way everybody's bunched in looks really weird to me. That was something that I felt from the beginning is that okay, you see, when I lifted that photo, I didn't realize that it took away one of Louis's foots. But that's why I wanted to get the real photo so it wouldn't look so weird like that. I didn't realize that it took one of his feet away. Actually, it took the support at the bottom of the chair away. Oh, just noticed that. But that's why, like I said, I like to be very forthcoming. So that's why I got the actual photo and put it up there for everybody's consideration. But yeah, she does look kind of compressed with his image layered over. And the shadow does look strange. It does look a bit strange because the shadow between herself and George doesn't seem to have the same depth as the shadow between um, Kitty and Willie. Yeah, that one line is a bit dark. That's for sure. Huh. Well, I tell you, that Sussex Squad Detective Agency, you got to get up pretty early in the morning to put one over on us. You got to get up pretty early in the morning. Speaking of early in the morning, where is Connie Balmer? Early in the morning. Connie's usually up by now. I tell you, Ivy is one of the most brilliant people that I have ever known, but I always forget what a great sense of humor Ivy has. Thank you, Ivy. So, however, upon closer inspection, royal fans have been left baffled by the 5-year-old prince, especially the hand that has rested on the chair next to Charlotte, with many questioning if an editing glitch has resulted in him missing a finger. Well, see, I caused him to lose a foot. So if I lost his foot, surely he could have lost a finger. Taking to X, formerly known as Twitter, one fan wrote, George's photo. What happened to Prince Louis' finger? It looks like it's missing. Another said, I'm not George's gorgeous. I'm sorry. Another said, is Prince Louis missing a finger? What is the AI? What in the AI is going on? Oh, not the AI. However, another fan pointed out, I think the missing finger is how he's holding the arm of the chair, which is what I said. The image of the family was taken earlier this year during a photography session at Windsor Castle. A statement released on behalf of Kate and William said, the Prince and Princess of Wales are very pleased to share a new photo of their family. The photograph, which features on their Royal Highness's Christmas card this year, was taken by the photographer Josh Schinner earlier this year and shows the prince and princess with their three children: George, uh, Prince, Prince Charlotte, and Prince Louis in Windsor. Okay, that was when they brought measuring tape and paint samples. They're sizing it up to move in. So William had a decorator show up and some contractors. Everybody who could give them some sound advice on how to kit out the castle just in case something happens to Charles. So that's why they were there. They were there with a whole interior design crew. They were there with better homes than Windsor's. And I'm pretty sure they're staking out a room for the what's her name? Carol Middleton. I'm pretty sure they're staking out some rooms for the Middleton family. Not the Kmart. I think the photo looks like a Kmart family portrait special. I don't like Willie nor Kate since they showed us how ugly they truly are, but the photo is just a sad family portrait, nothing more. It is depressing for Christmas. I will say that. It is rather depressing for Christmas. Um, like the little video said, Charlotte seems to have enough of a smile for everyone, but it just doesn't have a warmth to it. It seems very cold, partially because it's black and white, and then yeah, it's kind of sad. It is kind of sad. It looks a bit depressing. I mean, I don't know when they took the photo or what was happening, but it does kind of look like they just come from a funeral. So, as someone was speaking of a horror movie, because the children are in the photo, I decided to redact the photos, but I wanted to share with you what they were putting on the interweb. Over here, they says a Christmas cracker, the Sunday Telegraph. You see how they have the thing up there at the top? A Netflix original documentary, December 25th, Netflix. So they made it like a Netflix movie poster. And then here on the right, they had that weird music playing, that true crimes music. Kensington Palace Horrors premieres tonight at 8 p.m. The untold story of the horror that lie behind Palace Wall. Oh, now the reason why I covered up the one on the left side is they had, you know how they, when they want to conceal somebody's identity, they put those black bars across their eyes. You know how they have that black line across their eyes, and I thought that looked a bit too ghoulish, so that's why I covered up everybody. But over here, like I said, I don't want to uh, do anything with those kids, so I covered that up. But it was funny. It was very cute. The one on the right was actually a video from the TikTok, and the video from the TikTok actually had the the name of the TikTok channel, but I didn't want to share that either, so I covered that up at the bottom. But yeah, it was pretty funny though. Well, I tell you, there there are some creative people on the social media. And let's see, Judy Matassa says they fattened Kate's face to remove the wrinkles. Just saying. Well, don't they have a habit of plumping her face up? And they really ought to. They really better plump her face up. It serves her well if they plump her face up. Okay. Now, let's see here. And then, as I mentioned, the royal cipher, if you take a look at those red initials there, um, the one on the top left, that is the one that's on the mailbox, and that represents Queen Victoria. And that's kind of strange because if you're going to, place a mailbox for the occasion, you would think that they would have put Charles' cipher on it because in the future the new mailboxes will have um, the cipher for Charles on there. But you could see the one for Victoria, and then it looks like there's a second one for Victoria. There's George the Fifth, Edward the Eighth, um, I think George the Sixth. There's Elizabeth ER. Yeah, so those are the ciphers that are on the postal boxes. And I don't know, for whatever reason, that one they chose the one for Victoria. But then again, as someone said, that the whole scene at the Christmas thing kind of, what is that right there? He says, I returned to England and apparently it's still 1895. Well, that would have been during the time of Victoria. So it does have that kind of energy going on. All right. So it says here, now, again, you guys, not everybody is okay. I'll just share it with you. Oh, for God's sakes, I don't mean these kids in the photo. I mean poor things that don't even get to sit with their family for Christmas until they learn to make polite conversation. Well, actually, let me go over to the left. It starts right there. She says, "Excuse my language, but F off." And so this Professor Pragya Agarwal, this professor seems to have been a bit turned off by it. And this is just a sample of a much longer dialogue that was on the Twitter. And apparently they might not be able to join William and Kate around the dinner table that includes a at Christmas until they have learned the art of polite conversation. So I think she's actually protesting for the sake of the children. Let's see, Darren Grady, who works for the late Queen and Princess Diana, said royal children instead ate their festive lunch in a nursery with the nanny. The children always ate in the nursery until they are old enough to conduct themselves properly at the dinner table. Well, we don't know how they do with their kids, but um, this is just one of the people expressing their frustration with the way these kids are being paraded about, and of course, how artificial the entire scene appeared, which it does. And then I'm going to go through these very quickly. Let me see. That's so backwards. It's almost abuse. Someone else said we had the kids' table, but it was in the same room and next to it, not a different area with different adults. Wow. And let me see, you're not joining us for Christmas until you stop embarrassing us. This is a psychological abuse. I don't care if it's tradition, it needs to change. Let me see. That's just sad. Well, I mean, they don't invite the kids to a state dinner or something like that, but I'm pretty sure that on a typical night, that they don't isolate them. A lot of change in 26 years, though quite likely a table was set up for the younger children to sit together and have fun. So yeah. Anyway, let me continue. Oh, so this happened yesterday. Kate's Little Helpers, actually, yeah, yesterday, technically yesterday. Kate's Little Helpers Part of the parade of children included a trip to a baby bank where they made this music. Well, Kate is mumbling a bit, but in the video, they have like the guitar strumming. It almost seemed like an advertisement for Ralph Lauren. Um, And so this is the comment that someone made about it. If these people actually cared, they wouldn't hoard insane piles of wealth while convincing their gullible fans that this isn't a PR stunt. I can't believe how many people don't see that. It's sad, really. They could easily solve homelessness and hunger if they wanted to by giving up their millions, but they won't. And someone else said 5 minutes slumming it and then back to their what is that? Their luxuriant palace. They must have the public. Let me see. They must think the public are thick. And then this one says their children, they did not volunteer. They did what their parents told them. And guess what? Yet another photo opportunity. Sorry for being so cynical, but the Daily Mail does love Will's and Kate's story, unusually promoted by the wholly inaccurate headline. And then the last one says Windsor. So donations from Harrods, huh? Lots of lovely bags of wonderful middle class new items for those kids have no idea about homeless people, urine rats donation centers for the truly poor. Just a PR opportunity. As always, is all for show. So that was some of the reactions that they got from this, and it does make you believe that everybody celebrates these things. And I looked at the comments for the video itself, and it was all glowing. And the people that left the comments seem to believe that this justifies 350 million pounds a year expense for the upkeep of that family. And they were saying how this teaches the kids a valuable lesson. No, Princess Diana taking the kids to the streets. Diana used to take them to the shelter and used to make them go around and see how real people live. Diana did that. Diana would just take them to people's house with no cameras around. This is all orchestrated. And I mean to tell you, the video is beautifully edited. It is a beautifully edited video. And it's all done as a PR stunt. Children in tow. They said that Kate promised that they would get a chance to be Santa's little helpers. But I wonder if Kate promised that I'm going to bring every camera within a 15-mile radius to make sure that everybody knows that you've done something. So, yeah, it is a super PR stunt if I've ever seen one. Kate work ethic slammed as Duke of Gloucester 79 completes more engagements than Princess of Wales. Did you notice that this is from GB News? Once again, take notice of the fact that this is GB News um, sharing this information about the English rose and her laziness. And of course, people are going to say, well, she's got children. She has children and a whole team of caretakers, a whole team of caretakers. And what about the working class people who don't have nannies and cooks and cleaners and drivers and helicopters? What about them? Who could have saved the Middletons party pieces from disaster? A well-placed insider claims one hard-headed member of the family would have taken the company into new dimensions. Um, Uncle Gary? Uncle Gary. Uncle Gary seems to have money that magically appears from nowhere. Only Uncle Gary could have saved. As a matter of fact, there are some people who believe that Party Pieces was more show and very little profit. That is what some people say, is that Party Pieces, says an insider, sources close to the Middletons. I got to make sure I get myself covered here. Sources close to the Middletons say that Party Pieces was just a front for something more nefarious that was actually supporting the family and putting Kate Middleton into the right schools at the right time with the right doofus. That's what they say. All of this was bought and paid for by Uncle Gary, and that the Party Pieces was just some type of shell corporation, allegedly, that never really drew much of a profit, but it was just there for show. I've seen businesses like that before, if that's indeed what was going on. Bruh, bruh. Look at bruh back there. I don't know why I didn't see this before, but I would I would I would gladly give up a day's salary just to know what he's thinking. I would give up a month's salary just to know what he's thinking. Bro, what's up? What's up, bro? What you thinking? uh what you thinking, bro? Now, embarrassing moment goes viral when Kate meets Victoria. Notice nothing, looking around awkwardly, standing in line. Um, I don't know what they're talking about. The only thing I could think of was the video that I showed you where Kate and William was holding up the line. Notice nothing, looking around awkwardly, standing in line. Um, there is something that happened that day, and I still cannot find it, but something happened, and it just didn't seem like they got off, or should I say, they got on well with each other. Um, I think that the Cambridges or the Welleses, if you will, kind of took them for granted. It seemed very awkward, almost as though they were kind of pushed together, and that there was no real connection there. I kind of think that they get on better with Prince, is his name Hokum or whatever, from Norway. I think it's the ones from Norway. I think they get on better with the ones from Norway than they do with the Swedish royal family. But either way, I don't even know why they got together, to be honest with you. It don't seem like they have a lot in common, right? It doesn't seem like there's much in common. Okay. Can you please talk about the case with the Daily Mail and 48,000? I don't trust the news outlets. I don't trust what the news outlets are saying. There's nothing else to add to it except for Harry has to pay for their court costs, which is £48,000. But the case is going to trial next year. So he's being forced to pay that part of it because the judge said that what the reporter reported can be classified as an opinion. So they weren't reporting what was reported as fact. The court accepts it as opinion. But that's not the end of the story. It's just the court costs for that part of the case, but it's not the entire thing. And stand up, I do feel bad that the tabloid media, the British media as a whole, and even other countries, the news outlets, they don't really know the complexity of the case, and in some cases they know, but they don't care, and they want you to believe that that's it and that's all. But Harry has several cases. It's easy to lose track of which case is which, but for this one, that part of the case where it was said that this reporter's opinion um, was anyway, there was a leak of some sort, and they reported as though Harry. I believe that what it was is that Harry was very discreet about the case, and then it became a big public thing, and the attorney, I'm not the attorney, the reporter for the Daily Mail reported some things that was not known to the public, and through their disclosure, that is the real thing that Harry wants, is a permanent record and disclosure. Harry's not there because he's trying to make money from these publications. He's not there because he is I mean, what should I say? He's not worried that he might actually lose certain parts of it or all of it. Just like with the phone hacking case, they reported that Harry had somehow was going to lose or have already lost, but he only has to get one part of it right. Or should I say, if the others, the whole collection of them, is a multi plaintiff case. So when they report these little things like this and they make it seem like it's all over with and that this is some huge setback, it is a small setback. In other words, as they say, you may have won a battle, but you're going to lose the war. And it is a war. This is just one battle. So don't get pulled into those negative reports because that's not the end of it. There may be years of litigation ahead, and the problem that they're having is they're dealing with someone who has deep pockets and the determination to expose them. It's about exposure of some very, very bad people that have done some terrible things. It's not about how much money am I going to walk away with. Yes, it's always better to win than to lose, but this is just a small part of it. So it's not the biggest deal in the world. So don't get lost into those negative stories. They always make it seem like the Sussexes have lost. Even when Meghan won what was it, seven figures from the Daily Mail, well, they only reported that she won £1. Well, for what is it, punitive damages and all that stuff. Well, she won £1 here, but she won seven figures there. We'll never know what the actual number is because part of it is they don't have to disclose it, and you're not allowed to disclose it. So, yeah, that's all I'm saying is just don't get caught up in that. It's not over with yet. Let's see here. Let me see. I have to go now. Catch you all another time. Excellent, Baron. Bye. All. Bye for now. Bye from Ivy. Bye. All right. Let's see. I think it was done because the whole situation here is gone when he is more than 3 cases, if not the whole case in the name of yes. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shirley Kearney. Let's see. Harry is suing the tabloids on principle. This is not about money for him. Oh, thank you so much, Cynthia Henderson. Yeah, that's it. It's not about money. And during the disclosure process, we are learning things, and these things are being put on permanent record. So you got to look at that part of it. It's not for profit. It's not just to say, "Oh, I was right and you were wrong." It is exposing the beast. It is exposing these monsters. So this is just a small setback. It's not the entire case. Um, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I appreciate the frustration, but um, it goes to trial next year, and we'll just have to wait until the trial before we can say yes, it's over and done with. And I am certain that Harry will be victorious. I am certain of that. So worry not. Yeah, there's so many layers to it. It is super confusing sometimes. And, you're dealing with a criminal justice system and what else? Yeah, you're dealing with a justice system in a country that a lot of us are not familiar with. I mean, I don't know enough about what's happening here in the U.S., and I certainly don't get what's going on over there. But I tell you what, in the process, I am learning a lot. I'm definitely learning a lot. So we'll get there. We'll get there eventually. I'm trying to see if I can find anything that will be helpful. In written case order released on Monday, though the cost of will be assessed if they were not agreed. But it is, he said, the Duke should pay associated 48,447 pounds on account before the end of the year. The libel trial will take place between May and June next year if both parties do not come to an agreement. So far, next year, there is going to be a trial. Someone says, this is standard. This is like playing ping pong or tennis. Daily Fail gets their costs because they won, not having their case thrown out. So them not having the case thrown out, let me see, that is not determinative or whatever that word is, of a libel claim Harry has brought. If he wins at trial, the Daily Fail gets to pay his costs. So if at the trial, or should I say when Harry wins in the trial, Harry will have his costs paid out. But so far, that part of it about that part about the reporter's opinion being her opinion and not a fact, that part of it, that's done with. That's been, that's why Harry has to pay. But the other parts of it is going to trial. So again, very hard to understand, but we'll get there. Someone else says this is normal at this point, saying as it is going to trial, the Daily Mail on Sunday can use this opinion defense. Not that significant in the scheme of things. Don't listen to the media spin. Okay. All right. I hope that helps. I hope that helps. Oh, you're quite welcome, and thank you for being here. Let's see. Does anyone know what could they win once once they? I'm sorry. What the? Blah, blah. I'm having trouble with W's today. I know it's not about the money, but they will be rewarded money along with validation. How much can they win? Well, at the very least, the court costs, right? Harry's court costs, and then whatever financial damages they have to pay. The thing is, I've said this many times, in the British courts, they don't give you a lot of money. In the US courts, I mean to tell you, they will clean a person out. But over in the UK, they're more measured about how much financial damages are paid, which is a real shame because it almost encourages people to do terrible things because it's not going to cost them that much. But here in the US, baby, you gonna pay. And when I say you gonna pay, you gonna pay. They don't care how much it costs the defendant. When they say you gotta pay, you gotta pay. And don't let the jury decide how much you get. A lot of times they have to have a hearing just to lower the settlement amount because the U.S. jury, especially if they mad or they want to send a message to like a industry or individual, they will make you pay. So it's too bad it's not in a U.S. federal court. They would be paying a lot of money if that was the case. Excuse me. There's a new figure out of how hard the Royals work. We crunched the numbers. William and Kate have done less than a month's work spread over 12 months. Kate even less. Charles and Anne only did 2 months each. Now that's something to think about. A month's worth of work. So Prince William cost taxpayers over 127,000 an hour. Now I don't know how they came to that figure, but let's see if this explains it. Let's see. So, campaigners have criticized the latest suggestion that the royals are working hard after the Telegraph reported the number of engagements they had carried out this year. Although Spun is showing hard-working family, the numbers suggest the royals don't do the equivalent of no more than 2 months of work, of full-time work each year. William has carried out just 172 engagements, which amount to less than 1 month full time equivalent work. Kate did even less, with just 123 engagements. Engagements last an average of 1 hour, although many are much shorter. The campaign group Republic points out that the country effectively pays William over £127,000 an hour. The Duchy of Cornwall, which is a public asset owned by the Crown, will pay William an income of more than £22 million a year. Charles now receives a similar income for the Duchy of Lancaster, which also a state asset. That means he is costing the country almost £52,000 an hour. Between the so called working royals, the schedule adds up to just over 6 months of full time work. What they do is not work in the normal sense of the word. And a substantial number of engagements are near or at their main residence. Graham Smith, CEO of Republic, called the recent figures a disgrace. William likes to claim he works hard, adding one issue after another to his list of missions. Ain't that the truth? First, he tackled the Middle East peace. then the environment, and now homelessness. The truth is, he barely works at all. It takes a deep sense of entitlement and a complete lack of serious scrutiny for William and Kate and the others to rake in multi-million pound fortunes to enjoy the status and privilege of their position while doing so little. Anne is trumpeted as the most hardworking of them all, yet she only manages the equivalent of 2 months' work in 2023. This is one of many reasons to ditch the monarchy so we can have an accountable, serious, hardworking head of state who is on a decent salary and not being lavished with an opulent lifestyle at the expense of the taxpayers. Here, here. There we go. Well said, Graham. Well said. So, now here's another little embarrassing thing. UK fails to get Irish government approval to award knighthood to Irish citizens. Under Constitution, Irish citizens are forbidden from accepting noble titles without permission of government. Did you all know that? I did not know that. So, in other words, Charles was trying to interfere with the Irish and was rejected. It says here the UK did not seek permission from the Irish government to award honors to Irish citizens on 5 occasions in the last 30 years. Under the Constitution, Irish citizens are forbidden from accepting any title of nobility or of honor from a foreign state unless prior approval is sought from government. In cases under the UK monarch seeks to grant an honor to an Irish citizen, a convention has arisen where the British Embassy in Dublin will alert the Irish government ahead of time and seek permission. In the last 3 decades, foreign states have awarded honors to 19 Irish citizens. 14 of these came from the UK monarch, with the rest coming from Malaysia, Grenada, and Antigua and Barbuda, according to records released by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Michael Martin, to Green Party Patrick Costello. So, yeah, so they have been trying to supersede the authority of the Irish government. How embarrassing. Aren't you embarrassed? uh, Cynthia Henderson, you're welcome. Yeah, they it's deliberately being portrayed as a big loss, but it's really not. And of course, the reporters that have been reporting, like today when the story broke, oh, they were so excited. Oh, you could see the glee on their faces. They all had that I got you look, or this is the end. Pay no attention to that. Uh, I've never seen these before, but I guess this was from the past life before she was a duchess. Panama hat, check. Ripped jeans, check. Was it husband shirt? Check. Don't know what bag she's wearing, but check and check. And of course, those very glamorous sunglasses, check. But yeah, I love those photos. Now, see how casually chic Meghan can pull off these looks? You know that this is someone of substance. You just know it. And she's very casually chic in comparison to people who try to be something that they're not. You see, fashion is something you buy. Taste is something you either have it or you don't. And Meghan has good taste. You know, she can look casual and yet very smart at the same time, very well appointed. And that takes skill. That takes skill. I love the videos on YouTube where this lady asks people, she stopped people in Paris and asked them what they're wearing. And they go through the whole list of designer labels. But the whole thing about it is you really want to wear stuff that is quietly quality and by good designers. It will it will carry on for years. Whereas it's not the disposable fashions like you get from Zara and those kind of places. It's not disposable fashions. It's actually well made. You don't need a lot of pieces. You just need the quality that's going to last. So, and that's what Megan is after, is the quality. I mean, it's usually other people that are making the big announcements about what she's wearing, but she's after sustainable fashions, quality pieces, and also avoiding the synthetic fabrics. The synthetic fabrics, they are awful on the environment. Um, it takes thousands of years for them to degrade, or they end up in a burn pit somewhere where all those toxic chemicals are leaching into the atmosphere. Whereas the quality cotton and wool pieces and such, well, they degrade. They don't go into a landfill and last till the next ice age, but they naturally break down, which is why they feel so good on your skin. So um, just something to think about. And oh yeah, I think we're almost done. This will be our last word for today. I know that at the end of the day, she chose it. Chooses. I mean, sorry, she chooses me. I chose her. Whether we have to tackle whatever we have to tackle, I'm sorry, will be us together as a team. And that was what Harry said on their engagement announcement, and it still stands true today. Harry was looking for a partner. He wasn't looking for someone to bully around and all that kind of stuff. And Megan was looking for a partner. Um, they both have a chance to do their philanthropy, their humanitarian work, and really that's all they wanted, was to have a family and to be good humanitarians. And all of that has been complicated by this hate campaign that was initiated by Clarence House, and even worse, Kensington Palace. That hate campaign, um, the fact that they are never publicly defended by the family, or privately for that matter, um, that has left them vulnerable to some pretty dark forces. And as Harry said, in some cases, those same dark forces targeted my mother. And now they're after my wife. But you have to understand that when two people love each other, um, is always going to be challenges in life. But for the Sussexes, it is so much greater than what most people could ever expect, at least in a very public way for that matter. But they're facing it. They're a partnership, and anytime you see them, it always looks like their honeymoon was last week. They get on so well with each other. I don't know two people that are more ideally suited for one another than Harry and Meghan, and that's encouraging. That gives me hope. It gives me hope for everyone. That gives me hope for the world. So, with that, we're going to say goodnight to our queens. And we've had our last word from Harry. And I'll just leave that one up. There we go. I'll leave that one there. I'll take a look at some of your. Wow, it's been 2.5 hours. You know, I tell you, one of the best compliments I got all. Connie Balmer! Hey, Connie Balmer, I was looking for you. One of the best compliments I got all year was from oh gosh, what is his name? I'm so embarrassed I can't remember. But he has his own channel, and Mm. I am bad with names, but let me find it. But anyway, he made a comment about me having stamina. And I was like, really? And of course, upon hearing that, I said, you've never seen me get out of a seated position. If you see me get out of a seated position, I'll show you some stamina or the lack thereof. But that was a nice compliment. Majestic Sussex Report. That's where I got that from. Is it Antonio? Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Well, anyway, um, he said that I have a lot of stamina. I didn't really think about it. I just do what I do. But that was a nice compliment. I have to say, that was a nice compliment. There's his channel right there. And Antonio, that's right, Antonio. Um, Thank you, Lydia. And I didn't really think about it, but I guess, but see, I've worked and I've worked a lot. So working hard is not it's not a shock to my system. And when I believe in something, when I believe in the work that I'm doing, it doesn't even seem like I'm working. I'm just doing. You know, I never look at it as being work. I'm just doing. And so I don't really consider myself working. And I know sometimes I do kind of, when I'm like, I mean, how can I be running late every day? It's because I'm like, oh, I want to do this. I want to include that. And what if I miss this? And what if I miss that? And logically, you would say, well, just leave it for tomorrow. But I'm like, it's right there, you know. And I'm very much when I have it, I want to share it. Um, so that was that was like the most surprising and, dare I say, almost embarrassingly great comment that I've gotten all year, and I really do appreciate it. And yeah, that I think about it sometimes. I'm like, well, there may be a little snow on the roof, but there's still a fire in the furnace, right? So even though I'm looking more and more like Morgan Freeman, I'm still able to work like let me see who's a young up and coming actor. Well, anyway, one of those young people. So get her done. But yeah, that was a nice compliment. So Connie Balmer, you're up. Or have you been up already? I was like, Connie Balmer should have been up about an hour ago. Anyway, so long as you hear this, all that matters. But okay, you guys, we are done. Thank you, moderators, always for keeping this a safe space. And thanks again for the, you know what? I had to call my sister. I'm just like, somebody sent me some rum cake. And to think that I was going to give away a couple of them because I'm like, I can't eat all this cake. But when I found out they were all different flavors, I'm like, I'm going to eat all this cake. I ain't sharing nothing. I thought they were all the same flavors, but they're not. So, also, I do have something at the mailbox right now that I haven't retrieved. I'll get that later on this week. But if you did send something from the wish list, I am going to go and grab that. And to the person who sent me a book, I haven't gotten it yet. I thought I had it, but that was not it. So, uh, for someone who sent a book, I have not received it, but we'll see. It may just be running a little late. You're wondering if Uncle Willie first, I'm sorry, if Willie first met Uncle Gary, if he did not introduce some things to Willie. Well, they were kind of boxed in because, on the one hand, there was Uncle Gary and his little side hustle. And then, of course, there was um, Camilla's son, who also had a side hustle, right? So on both sides, you got Kate's family and you got Uncle Willie's. I'm sorry, not Uncle Willie's, but you got Camilla's family. And in both families, they both seem to have a in-house pharmacy. So, you know, and I heard a statistic one time that when it comes to uh, municipal water supplies, you know, they process sewer water and it's put back into the system. Once it has been, cleaned, we drink it again. We cook with it, we bathe with it. The water is recycled. And they said the city of London has one of the highest concentrations of, I don't want to say what it is, but baking soda. They have some of the highest concentrations of baking soda in their municipal water supply than just about any city in the world. All cities have it, but there's a high concentration of baking soda in the water supply coming from the municipalities surrounding and in London, Greater London. So, no thanks to those before mentioned people, right? This is why they say when you are uh, dumping medication, don't put it, don't flush it, don't put it in the water supply. I try to find something. I remember when one of my relatives had died, and they had some really powerful um, painkillers. I put them in you know how old people keep that grease can? They pour that grease in that coffee can. I put it inside of the grease and taped it up and threw it away. So if you want to use this, you're going to get a whole lot of stale, what do you call it? Fry daddy grease along with it. But it's much better than putting it inside the water supply. Again, I am done. So for those of you guys that need to start your day or get to sleep, we are done for today. Thank you for being here. And as I always say, try to keep positive. Do not let the headlines and the derangers get to you, because that's what they want, is to create despair. Oh, Connie Bomber, I got to share something with you. Look at Harry. Look at Harry with those chiseled good looks. This article was from NBC News about the case, about the legal fees. And yeah, well, anyway, even though they were there reporting what is supposed to be bad news for Harry, they could not have found a more attractive photo. Look at that chiseled jaw, that well-defined jawline, his hair. Well, I tell you, it looks very full from this angle, and that very stern, masculine look. Now, I have to say, if you're going to give some bad news, make me look good. And he does look good there. And look at that finely tailored suit. Look at that finely tailored suit. Go, Harry. Yeah. Yeah. If you got to say something, at least let me look good. And they did. I was like, wow. If is this the photo they're going to go with? I accept. I accept. That's just like the other day when they had that article. Well, actually, it wasn't the article, the video where the hockey player was, they were trying to insinuate that there was something between him and Megan before she married Harry. Well, I tell you what, at least they have when they make up stuff, at least they have good taste, right? uh, oh, that's a good idea. Give it back to the pharmacy. Yeah, absolutely. That is so good. I'm so glad you said that because instead of going through all that trouble, you can just take it back to the pharmacy and they will dispose of it. I know some airports even have places where you can dump stuff before you get on the plane. So, but yeah, they do in a lot of pharmacies. They have those boxes where you can dump the old medications. Very, very good idea. Thank you for sharing that. Let me see here. I was about to sign off till you brought that handsome photo of Harry up. Um, Megan got the good looking brother. Absolutely. Absolutely. Harry is, how could Megan, even with everything that has happened, how could she have refused him? How do you do that? You know, it's it was asking for a lot, and Harry did the very best he could to prepare her. He asked all the right questions to his family. He got promises that were broken. Never again. No, it's not going to be like Diana and all that kind of stuff. He made sure that everything was proper. He asked his grandmother's permission at the right time. He did everything that he was supposed to do. But in spite of all of that, when you have two of the weakest, insecure, emotionally fragile men heading the family, Charles and William, who looks the same age as Charles, by the way, when you have those people and they're teamed up with Godzilla and that special case right there, they're teamed up with them, right? And they both have these opportunistic families that are only there to see what they can get out of it. Then, of course, that makes things troublesome. But at the very center of everything, there just happens to be two people that are so ideally suited for one another, that are so like minded, so intelligent, emotional intelligence, um, overload. I mean, they have everything. They're a very handsome couple, and of course, they inspire people. So it was meant to be. And as the Sussex squad, we can do what we can do, but a lot of it is just up to Faith. Faith has to play out. The whole thing has to play out, but at a certain point, I cannot help but be very positive and believe that it will get better. It will get better. It is like a soap opera in that you just want the main characters to be happy. But just like with a soap opera, it has these big ups and downs, and it's almost like there's some orchestration, like we're looking at a movie script, but it's real life, and people are being hurt by it. Um, but we couldn't expect Harry to never marry just so that he could um, be there to serve the institution. And Megan was ready for a change. When people assumed that Megan was gave up her old life out of a sense of greed and entitlement, everybody comes to a point in their life when they're open for a new adventure. And this is just that. It was a new adventure. And the only problem is that there was so many terrible things that were stacked up. Usually where hard work and determination will see you through anything, for this, you're dealing with some very dark forces, and there's so much at stake, and there's so many people that earn their living off of the misery of others, that's very difficult. And they're in it now, they're together. And even if for whatever reason they were not together, you can never go back into obscurity. You're always going to be a topic of conversation, whether it's with a lot of people or a few people. You cannot unring a bell. It's always going to be. And maybe it was destined, because not only are they together, not only have they started their family and all that, but they're also meant to help a lot of people, and they are helping a lot of people. And in the future, when we have some type of protection against online bullying, um, AI, and all these other questions of the day where the internet is concerned, one of the two names, or the foundation, the Archewell Foundation, in those conversations, when we look back and say, remember how things used to be, when we talk about why things changed and how things changed, Harry and Meghan are going to be a very instrumental part of that, and they are going to be part of the conversation um, in the future when people talk about how things have improved. You know, thank goodness for Harry and Meghan and the Archewell Foundation, because before them, online bullying was rampant. And of course, there were no protections for children, but that's part of their life mission. There's other things. The vaccine inequity that they tackled, that was very necessary. Just think how many people have been saved because they were fighting for people that they'll never know, that they've never met, but still the vaccines were needed for those who could not afford it. They didn't push the vaccines on anybody. They just wanted to make sure that those who wanted it would be able to get it. So they're always doing something to improve the lot in life for those people who have no voice. And yeah, if I was able to spend the rest of my life doing those good deeds like that, and I'm able to have a family and enjoy my life, and get to know some very powerful and enlightened people, yeah, it's definitely worth the fight. It is worth the struggle. Life is always going to have its struggles, but their troubles are playing out very publicly. But it's not always going to be that way. We'll get through this. They'll get through this. But you have to have faith, and you can't give in to those um, negative stories like that, because that is part of the abuse from the media. The media has gotten away with abusing the public for too long. You need only look at your local news channels, at the way they report stories. I literally, like Constance Meredith, or Meredith Constance, the way she picks those things apart. I didn't have the language for it. I still don't have the language for it, but I am doing exactly the same thing that Meredith is doing. I just don't have the language for it, but I have been doing that for years. And I have encouraged a lot of people, just walk away from it. They are destroying you. It is consuming you. So if something like that is having such a negative effect on your day-to-day existence, if there's something big that's coming down the pike, you'll hear about it. But you don't have to know about every house fire. You don't have to know about every kidnapping. You don't have to know about all those things to survive. But the media makes you believe. You know how they say, for the latest, uh, just make sure you check it. And we have an exclusive. And all of that is to coerce you into depending upon them to tell you what's happening so that you won't miss out. You are missing out, though. You're missing out on your peace of mind. So step away. Don't let it consume you. Just step away. Watch a movie. Go out and touch the grass. Put up your Christmas lights. Whatever it is you can do to distract from that. And as for the presidential election, people are talking about how Biden is going to lose. It's 11 months out. There are so many things that could happen in 11 months. There's the expectation game where politicians always pretend like they're not sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen. We don't know if we're going to win. I certainly want to win, but it's not looking good. When meanwhile, they know that they have the edge, but you cannot say it because that may discourage people from voting. Well, he's already ahead. Why should I bother? You know what I'm saying? So you got to play the expectation game. That is natural in politics. So whoever you're voting for, it is too soon. Um, let's revisit this conversation in October, right? The election is in November. It's what's happening in October that matters, not what's happening in December prior to the election. That doesn't matter. But yeah, the media is abusing you, and you've got to break off that bad relationship. These morning shows, that's abuse. That's abuse. They're coercing you into believing that they are going to give you answers that never come. You never get the satisfactory answer. All they do is string you along with more bad news. And because there's so much media available, they are fighting for an ever increasingly crowded field. They're trying desperately to get your attention. And if you give in to that, then the abuser wins. And I don't like bullies, and I don't think bullies deserve to win. So I'm pushing back. I hope you'll do the same. All right. Love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Um, I'm sorry. I just thought about something funny. Let's see. Is it Akusa Oyamiki? Says Harry should not take any of these people to court in the UK. He should sue them outside UK. If not, he will lose the case because his own family behind it. They order the court to found him guilty. Um, it's not that easy. It's not that cut and dry. Megan took the Daily Mail to court and she won. Um, trust the process. That's all I can say is trust the process. Just because it's the king's court does not mean that he is destined to lose. Um, you have to believe. Here in the U.S., we have so many cases that are decided by judges, federal judges, that were appointed by a Republican president. And when that Republican takes a case to that court, or should I say, the attorney general, who may be a Republican, takes that case, that same judge that was appointed by that same president may strike down the ruling, or you know what I'm saying? So you can't believe that that's going to be the case. If there was the very wise counsel that Harry has sought would say, this is a waste of time, but it's not. It's not. Have faith. Don't give in to that negativity, because at the end of the day, it is what God chooses, right? Whatever higher power that you believe in, that is the last word, not man. not woman, not you, not me, but there's a much higher power at play. So um, don't worry about whose court it is. Just worry about who's fighting the fight. Let me see. TB says candidates are only ahead pending if voters follow through and vote without changing their minds and with the certainty that people will follow what they are prejudged to do. Yeah, it's an expectation game. That's part of it, and the other part of it is encouraging and discouraging. So, some advertisements are designed to discourage people from voting, and some are designed to encourage people to vote. And of course, the same goes for what we see on television. Some media outlets are biased one way or the other, and they know what words will encourage and discourage, and they pinpoint the conversation and is directed toward certain socioeconomic groups. You are being targeted every time you wake up in the morning. You look at your phone, somebody is considering your income, your race, your postal code. They're considering all of those things. And they're saying, you know what? She'll buy this because after all, she is a female age such and such, and she lives so and so. Well, they're doing the same thing with your votes. They are determining what you are likely to do. So before the election, there will be a lot of messages on your phone, whether it's from the media or whether it's from an ad campaign that is targeting you to either get you to the poll or to get you to stay home. And of course, both sides are doing it at the same time. And the person who yells the loudest ain't necessarily the one that's going to win the votes. But at the end of the day, some of it is just by chance. Some of it happens by chance. But um, that's why I really love Meredith, is because she teaches media literacy. And as I said, I don't have the language for what she does, but I have been fighting that fight for a long time. The idea of what's perceived to be um, a true story and what is not, and the way that they try to coerce our thoughts into leading us down the path of destruction or building a better world. But most of the times, there's some kind of negative um, application there somewhere. There's something negative in what the media has given us because they play upon your fears. Fear is a powerful motivator. And if you can keep people in fear and you can keep them coming back to you, having someone fearful and dependent is very powerful. And that's what the media does, is they keep you fearful and they also keep you very dependent. And some of the news that you're watching every day is introducing poison into your system. We're allowing people to poison us. You know, there's certain things that I see, um, on the internet, and I may be the last person in the Sussex squad to talk about it. And the reason why is because I don't want to send anybody to bed or starting their day with anxiety, especially if it doesn't change anything. If it doesn't mean anything in the long run, I don't even talk about it because I care about other people's mental health and well being. And I don't want to talk about stuff just for the sensation of it, especially if it's something that leaves you absolutely hopeless. I'll let somebody else do that. But because that's abusive. Even like some of those thumbnails where I see a person holding their face with despair, I'm just like, oh God, why are you doing that? You know, or there's some photo that seems to trigger fear, right? I see a lot of that, not just with the Sussex squad, but all over the place. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of it in the Sussex squad. I'll say that. We don't have a lot of that in the Sussex squad. There's a few that play upon the fear, but we don't have a lot of it. Thank God. But there are some people with those where they're holding their face and wringing their hands in despair, like something shocking just happened. You mean to tell me you're that shocked every day? Are you really that shocked every day? And when I see those, I skip right past it. I do. I skip right past it. I don't even bother with it. I don't even bother with it. Um, there's one of these guys that I follow that does credit card reports, and it's not the young man that I started following a while ago, but this is another one. And every thumbnail, he's holding his face, he's looking down in despair, and he's got a headline or a thumbnail that says, "This has changed with the credit card," and I'm just like, unless somebody's going to push that door in and come in here and whoop me real good, nothing is that troubling. There's not too much in life that I'm afraid of. If I thought somebody was going to go upside my head, like at work, when I'm in the workplace, and there's all of this fear and anxiety about getting a write up or something like that, okay, write me up. But unless you're going to take me out back and start clubbing me with bats, I don't care. That don't mean nothing to me. I just get another job. It probably wasn't meant for me anyway. There was a time when I was more anxious about stuff like that, but I'm just like, it'll be all right. Yes, I saw that, TB. It appears that Meredith is going to interview um, Omid Scobie. Meredith is going to have an interview with Omid Scobie, and she's asking for people to submit some questions to ask Omid. What an opportunity, and well deserved, I might add. Very well deserved. Hear, hear, Reba Henderson. I refuse to live in fear, and I will not allow people to project it onto me. Yes. Thank you, Reba. Thank you. I love that. Yep. And I've had some people that I just don't talk to as much because I don't feel like being afraid of everything. I cannot be that afraid. If I'm living with that much fear, number one, if I allow your words to instill a sense of fear upon me, then I have given you complete control of my life, and that's not going to happen. So I'd rather just leave you alone. Yep, fear is a powerful motivator. So unless you want to induce toxins into your body, get rid of it. Get rid of it. It's not helping you live longer, and you don't have the quality of life. It's only making things worse for you. Okay, so thank you so much. All 820 of you that hung in here to the end. Also, I'm going to work on some short videos that I promised to do, and I haven't gotten to them yet, so I'm going to work on those. And let me see, what did I post last? I posted something, and I don't know what it was. Let me see. Let's see, video. Oh, I know what it was. It was about the creepy photo. Okay, so I did the creepy photo, and I did a short of the Archewell Foundation. Okay, okay, that was it. Just wondering. All right, but okay, so love you guys again. I will see you soon. We are at 47,600 subscribers. Can you believe it? Before the end of the week, I promise you, we are going to be at 48,000 subscribers. 48,000. I don't know where all these people are coming from, but I'm glad you're here. 48,000 subscribers is coming soon. In the last 28 days, there has been 2,545 new subscribers. Wow, that is so cool. Usually you get those kind of subscribers when the Sussexes are more visible, but very unexpected for now. Oh, I see. I got to go and clean house. Look like there's a bunch of trolls. I'm going to go clean house. That's what I'm going to do. Good night, TB. Good night, Cookies and Cream. Reva Henderson. Good night, Lydia. Don Barnett. Carmen's Place. Cynthia Henderson. Good night and good night and good night. Yes, and remember, no bad energy. No bad energy. So with that, I am going to close with Madam Duchess.